All right, we are going to start part one of our college algebra review material. So this is the material we're going to review before we actually get to the college algebra material. And we're going to start with algebraic expressions and also some equations. We're going to talk about mathematical models and the real numbers. So I added a little bit to this section. So we're going a little further back because I want to start with order of operations. So a lot of times there's a few parts of order of operations that gets confusing or we forget about. So I just like to review this. So the original version that you usually see of your order of operations has always been the PEMDAS. So we got P for parentheses, E for exponents, M for multiplication, D for division, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So this is a nice way to remember your order of operations. Sometimes it gets a little confusing though, because these ones, it's not multiplication before division. It's whatever comes first. Same thing with addition and subtraction. It's not addition first and then you work on subtraction. It's whatever comes first. Also, there's a little bit more to this. Like when we talk about parentheses, we're actually talking about groups here. And when we talk about exponents, this also covers radicals or square roots or cube roots and all that other stuff. So there's other things that fall under these categories. So we're just going to simply go through that quickly. So a nice way to talk about your order of operations, kind of simplify it, is this is our order of operations agreement. We're going to perform operations inside grouping symbols. So by grouping symbols, we mean parentheses, brackets. Sometimes you might see these step brackets, and also a division bar would also be another one. So that is also a grouping symbol. So we like to perform these grouping symbols first, and we start with the innermost grouping. We perform operations within the innermost parentheses or brackets or division bar, whatever we have, and we work outwards. If the algebraic expression involves fraction, treat the numerator and the denominator as if they were each enclosed parentheses themselves. So right here, we would treat that like a parenthesis and like that like a parenthesis. So we would rectify this and this if possible, then we would continue on. We like to evaluate all exponential expressions. So now we're talking about squares. We're also talking about square roots because, believe it or not, this is also an exponent as well. So our square roots get counted as part of our exponentials. Sometimes it gets thrown into groupings. We like to perform multiplication and division as they occur, working from left to right. So whichever occurs first is the one that we deal with. Like I said, these work together. And then we perform addition and subtraction, once again, in the order in which they occur from going left to right. So it's usually these two that I have there's the most issues with. And even after we review it, when you have a break, your brain sort of defaults and starts going, oh, multiplication first, division second. You can't do that. It has to be in the order in which they come, going left to right. So when parentheses occur within parentheses, we make them different shapes. So we use the brackets and we use the braces. So I call them step brackets because we use them as step brackets, but the braces. All of these have the same meaning. When parentheses occur within parentheses, computation, the innermost ones must be done first. So we're saying you can have these parentheses. But I can take all this and I can put something else to the outside of it. So what we have to do is we'd have to work the innermost parentheses first. First. And then the outermost parentheses or brackets or braces, whatever you use, we'd have to work that out second. So you always start innermost if you can. All right, so we're just simply going to go through a few examples of your order of operations. So remember, the first thing we like to do is we like to do parentheses or grouping symbols first. So we see a grouping symbol here. So we're going to deal with our group first. So we have 5 minus 3. Well, that's just going to be 2. We don't need those parentheses anymore. So now that is 2 plus 5 squared minus 2 times 5. Well, then the next part is we do groupings, but then after that, we have no groupings, so we go to parentheses. Not parentheses, I'm sorry, exponents or exponentials. So here we got 5 squared, so just as a reminder, that means 5 times 5, which is 25. So now we have 2 plus 25 minus 2 times 5. Then our next part is after we do groups, we don't have any groups anymore. After I do exponents, I don't have any exponents anymore. And then I do multiplication and division, but whatever I hit, go first, going left to right. So going left to right, we just have this multiplication. I'm gonna say mult slash divide, it's one or the other, whatever comes first. We have multiplication, so that's 2 plus 25 minus 2 times 5, which is 10. Then we can do addition and subtraction, going left to right. So this is the one that pops up first. So because this is first, I'm going to deal with this one first. So that is going to be 2 plus 25, which is 27 minus 10. We ran out of room. And then the next part is going left to right. Well, we only have one operator, so we're going to do the subtraction second. So 27 minus 10 is going to leave me with 17. So this is what we mean when we say to simplify by order or simplify using order of operations. So simplifying means that we're just trying to boil this down to just one number if possible. So when I say simplify, that means we're essentially using order of operations. To rewrite our expression as just one value. So we're just trying to essentially order of operations is trying to get rid of extra numbers and operators that we don't necessarily need to have there. At least that's part of what simplifying means. Okay. We'll do this again. But going through my order of operations, first I do groupings. So we'll worry about this out here next. But this is a grouping. So because this grouping has something added on the outside, once I do the grouping, I'm going to keep the parentheses. Sometimes just be careful of that. So this is 6 divided by 2 times 5 minus 2 minus 4 plus 5. So once I do my groupings, I have to repeat my order of operations again. So going left to right, what comes first is the subtraction comes first. So we're going to do the inside the groups, but we're going to go back to order of operations. 2 minus 4 is just -2 plus 5. And then we keep that squared. Like I said, we're still going left to right inside of the grouping. So now, once again, we're going to do this operator. So -2 plus 5. The -2 plus 5 is going to be 3. So this parenthesis is not dealing with operators. Okay, I know I spelled parenthesis wrong. I don't know what I messed up. When you have parentheses and no operators inside, it is not a grouping. So groupings have to have operators. This is a grouping. This is a grouping. But this is not a grouping. It's just the parentheses are just there to kind of hold that number to the side. So sometimes you just keep them just to say, hey, this is what this boiled down to. Partly because we got this negative out here. And we want to make sure that what we square is the 3, not the -3. So we are squaring what came out of the parentheses, which is the +3. So we did the groupings. Now we do the exponents. So 3 squared is going to be 9. So next, we look for multiplication going left to right. So going left to right, we're going to come across this division first. So 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3, and then we still have the times 5 minus 9. Now we can do this operator, because like I said, we're going left to right for multiplication division. I already did the first part, now we're doing the second part. So 3 times 5 is going to be 15 minus 9. And then we only have the last operator left, is just subtraction. So 15 minus 9 is going to be 6. All right, and then this one's with our division bar. So remember, when we have the division bar, we treat it as if it's another grouping. So we have absolute value of -3 times 4, absolute value plus 2, close parentheses. And then technically, we don't need these parentheses, but like I said, this is another grouping down here. So when we have absolute values, we're going to treat this like a grouping as well. So you might see different versions of this telling you what to do, but I just say treat it like a grouping, just deal with that absolute value, and then we move on. So we're going to pretend, not pretend, but we're going to say so this grouping here inside the absolute value is my innermost grouping. So if I deal with that, we have absolute value of -3 times 4. So that's going to be -12. So we need absolute value of -12 plus 2 divided by 7. So I'm going to drop this one on 7 because we don't need it. Then we're going to say absolute value of 12 is just 12 plus 2. Now we have to deal with the grouping that's on the top. So that is 12 plus 2, 4 divided by 7. And 4 divided by 7 is going to leave me with 2. So this one's just all groupings. Okay. So take a moment and go through the next few questions here and work on these ones and simplify them. And I'll show you the solutions in the next video. Right. So the additional questions, hopefully you have a chance to try these on your own. So your worksheet number 1, we got 1A. So we got 4 minus, and we have our brace 7 plus bracket 2 minus parentheses 5 plus 6 parentheses bracket brace. So we have a bunch of groupings here. So we go to the innermost grouping, which is going to be, sorry about that. Pen was on. It's going to be this one here, the 5 plus 6. So now we have 4 minus my brace, 7 plus bracket 2 minus 5 plus 6, which is 11. And then we have our brace, our bracket, and our brace. Now the next innermost group is going to be this 2 minus 11 that we have now. So we're going to have 7 minus my brace, 7 plus 2 minus 11. So I'm going to keep the parentheses because when we have a negative, it's a good policy to keep that parenthesis in there just so we don't confuse what's going on with our negatives. So like I said, it's no longer a grouping. Sorry, I don't know why my pen's acting up. It's no longer a grouping. It's just saying that 2 minus 11 was -9, and I just want to keep that negative there. So 4 minus my brace. And now my next group here is just the 7 plus the -9. So that is -2. So now what we have here is we have 4 minus -2. So hopefully you've seen this before. This just means that I can change this to 4 plus 2 if you wanted to make that little step there, which is then going to be equal to 6. So number B, we got the division again. This is really just having a group that is 6 times 3 divided by 9 over a group that is just -2 by itself. So if we do order of operations going left to right, the first thing that we want to do is this 6 times 3, which will be 18 divided by 9. And then we're still divided by the -2. Then we're still dealing with this grouping on top. 18 divided by 9 is 2 divided by -2, which is going to leave me with -1. And then for C, we have 10, or sorry, absolute value, 10 divided by 5 plus 2 absolute value cubed. So remember the absolute value is a grouping. So we're going to do the innermost grouping, which isn't the absolute value. It's the 10 minus 5. So the 10 minus 5 is just going to be 2. So we have absolute value 2 plus 2 divided by 3. So 2 plus 2 is just 4. So it's absolute value of 4 cubed, which then the absolute value of 4 is still 4. The 4 cubed is going to be 64. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. I'll get something to work here. Okay, so once again, we have the division. So this part, like I said, it's that division that treats it like groups. Sorry, but sure, I missed one here. Hope this is one. Here we have 6 divided by 2 times 3, which is my group. Then we have a group down here, which is 9 divided by 2 cubed. And then we have the -1. So we have a group on top, group on bottom. There's separate groups to do whichever group you want to do first. So I usually just do the top group because that's easier. So one of the things we watch out is like when we have all this and we got this -1, is sometimes we go through and we simplify everything and then we forget about this -1. So if some number added on somewhere, try not to forget about it. So we are going to have, we'll do the top one first. So going left to right, we come across the division first. So 6 divided by 2, go back, fix this. 6 divided by 2 is just going to be 3. So we have 3 times 3. And like I said, we're just going to deal with the bottom here after we deal with the top. Oh, my parentheses. All like this. Next, we just have to finish out the top of parentheses, top group. So 3 times 3 is 9. So that's just 9 divided by the group that is 9 minus 2 cubed minus 1. So now we deal with the bottom group. And the first thing we have inside this bottom grouping is an exponent. So this is going to be 6 divided by 9 minus 2 cubed, which is going to be 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. So now we have the 9 still on top. We finished with this grouping on the bottom. 9 minus 8 is just 1. So going left to right, or not going left to right, but we have multiplication division is my next step because now we got rid of the groupings. We don't have any exponents. So we see the division of 9 divided by 1, which is still just 9. Then we minus the 1 and we get 8.